ושפתם מים וששון ממעייני הישועה השם הישועה עמך וחצך זרע שפתם מים וששון ממעייני הישועה השם הישועה from the top, from the top, from the top. Yinekel Yeshuasi Havdallah below Havdallah Yazi Vizin Nashka Hashem Vayehi Yeshua Ki Yazi Vizin Nashka Hashem Vayehi Yeshua מים וששון ממעייני הישועה השם הישועה על עמך וחסך סלע מים וששון ממעייני הישועה השם הישועה על עמך Hashem Yeshua Let's hear you guys from the beginning. I don't hear you at all. Hashem Yeshua Let's hear you guys, just you guys from the high bar. Shaftem. Let's hear you again. Shaftem. Me, my name, Yeshua, Hashem. Yeshua, Alamecha, Echazech, Zema, Shaftem mayim v'sason, B'maynei Yeshua, Hashem Yeshua, Alamecha, Echazech, Zema, Shaftem mayim v'sason. Let's take it slow way. Here we go. V'shaftem mayim v'sason minayinei hayeshuah. Bring it up, guys. Hashem hayeshuah. Let's raise that room. Every single central leads and TSY voice. Shaftem mayim. Let's hear it. Minayinei hayeshuah. Hashem hayeshuah. No music, just you guys. My part, no music, no music. Just you guys. Shaftem. One more time for good luck. Shaftem mayim v'sason minayinei Hashem HaYeshua Alamecha Bechazecha Torah u'mitzvot, Torah, Torah u'mitzvot, Ratzah kadosh Ratzah kadosh baruch Hu Zakei Festis Roel Neficha Yibalae Torah u'mitzvot Yadir, oh Hashem, Chafetz Leman Tzidko, Yadir Torah Yadir, Hashem Chafetz Leman Tzidko, Yadir Torah Yadir. Torah u'mitzvot, Vicha Yirba Lahem. Torah u'mitzvot, Vicha Yirba Lahem. Torah u'mitzvot, Vicha Yirba Lahem. Torah u'mitzvot. Ratzah kadosh baruch Hu, Yizakov et Yisrael. Ratzah kadosh baruch Hu, Yizakov et Yisrael. Ratzah kadosh baruch Hu, Yizakov et Yisrael. Torah u'mitzvot, Vicha Yirba Lahem. Torah u'mitzvot, Vicha Yirba Lahem. Torah u'mitzvot, Vicha Yirba Lahem. Torah u'mitzvot. Ratzah kadosh baruch Hu, Yizakov et Yisrael. Ratzah kadosh baruch Hu, Yizakov et Yisrael. Ratzah kadosh baruch Hu, Yizakov et Yisrael. Take it away, Baron. Here we go. Im lo yale es Yerushalayim arosh simchasi.
Reach to the Lord, please.
Man, show 'em what you're made of. Impossible. Let's hear you guys, just hear it. In the הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. תיבייס הקדוש ברוך הוא הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו one more time. הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, מצילנו מידם. Nai 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 nai, na na nai 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 nai, na na nai nai na 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 nai, na na nai nai, nai 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 nai, no no nai 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 nai, na na nai nai na 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 nai, nai no. Who's ready for the nine-nice? Oh, ya-na-nai. Whoa, ya-na-nai. Whoa, ya-na-nai. Whoa, whoa, ya-na-nai. Whoa, ya-na-nai. Whoa, ya-na-nai. Whoa, whoa.
I could not help but say, Michael Nadada is a freaking genius. And you, my friends, regional board, this is your region. This is an amazing, there are 10 regions from coast to coast on Memorial Day weekend. And perhaps we're one of the latest here at night. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful room full of potential successes. This, you guys, and I want a special welcome to the 8th graders who are the first time at a senior SSY Shabbat. The class of 2017, we hope you had an amazing, amazing weekend. And we are looking forward to many, many years. For more than 30 years. It's a very long time. For more than 30 years. He once was a regional director And he has inspired audiences in our region and in other regions and in other organizations for 30 years, impacting untold numbers of individual lives of people who today are grandparents. And it is an incredible honor to have our good friend, my very, very close good friend, my brother, Judge Danny Butler.
Why don't we all just sit down for a second? Let's all sit down for a second. Sit. Ypsilanti is where the UP starts, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It ends all the way up over Wisconsin, right up near Lake Superior in Copper Harbor. There's nothing there. It's still winter at the top. Oh, I meant to say this and I forgot. Only time I'll do this. I can get through this one line, I can get through the whole thing. I'm like rabbits and young rice. L'zecher nishmas. Imi Marasi, Sivya Basari Leib, who loved NCSY. Shayna, this one's for you. So yesterday at 7:52 p.m., the apprentice on duty at the board, you want to talk high technology, they got everything covered. He sees a light go on when L'Chadodi started at the Marriott. And he says, what's that? It's in Ypsilanti. There ain't supposed to be any of that in Ypsilanti. Ypsilanti. He calls upstairs and he says, what's going on? I need help down here. He's only an apprentice angel. He's watching the big board. And it's Friday night in Upper Michigan. And the drunks aren't even out yet. What could be going on? And they send somebody a little more senior down who just pats him on the back and says, don't worry about that. Shabbos just started. What do you mean Shabbos? It's Ypsilanti. Nah, that's NCSY. Every once in a while they pop up somewhere and make Shabbos. And the board goes crazy. He said, but that's wild, he says. Don't worry, this is just the beginning, the senior angel says to him. Watch what happens. And the junior ranger said, did you hear about that thing that happened in Siberia last week? It sounds like that. And the senior angel says, no, that was really crazy. I got freaked out this Shabbos by two things in the Torah portion, okay? For the first time in his history, after growing up as a prince and saving some Jews and running away and getting married and coming back and then going through all the plagues and bringing the Jews out of Egypt and then taking them to the Red Sea, and then they're about to get crammed into the Red Sea by the pursuing troops, and then zap, sticks out his staff and Moses opens up the Red Sea and the Jews go through, and then the Egyptians get drowned, and then they didn't have anything to eat, so he got a mun, which was magical food, because the magical food was if you wanted it to taste like steak, it tasted like steak, and if you wanted it to taste like chocolate pudding, it tasted like chocolate pudding. And then they didn't have water, so he went zap and he got water, and everything was great. And in fact, the Midrash says that when the clouds came over them, it cleaned their clothes, and that nobody had any disabilities at all. Everybody was fine. And then in this week's Torah portion, the Jews, establishing a tradition that endures to this day, the Jews started to complain. They complained, believe it or not, about the food. But you got magical food. Well, that's when we find out that the only things that the magical food couldn't taste like were the things they ate in Egypt when they were slaves. They had herring and onions and pickles. So no matter what else you wanted, it would taste like that, but it wouldn't taste like herring and onions and pickles. And so they whined and complained. And Moses, our leader, he tweeted to all of the Jews, WTF, pickles? Oh no, wait, he didn't have that technology. We've got the technology. Oi, do we have technology? I'll tell you something, but don't tell anybody, okay? I tried an experiment yesterday. I'm addicted to my iPhone, okay? She said BlackBerry, but that's so 2011. And my iPhone, one of my apps is the Xfinity app, okay? And I can download movies, so I download Peace, talking about Peter Parker. I'm in the middle of The Amazing Spider-Man. It's taking me about a week, but every time I have a moment, I stop and watch it because it's on my iPhone. But I'm doing about, I'm driving on technology, everything's technology. I'm driving west on the Ohio Turnpike from Pittsburgh heading here, okay? And my GPS starts to speak to me. It says the delay on your route is 17 minutes. We have found a faster route. Would you like to take it? You have a choice, yes or no? And I say yes, and I go on the faster route. And now I'm 75. We did jump around to 280 and we go up 75, and when you hit Michigan, the speed limit goes up to 75, and of course the speed limit of 75 means at least 84. So I'm doing 82 because I'm older, you know. And I got the cruise control set, and I think to myself, you know, it would be really cool. I'm in the middle of listening to two different things. Go to yutorah.org. There's like 8,000 rabbis making speeches just ready for you to download them. So I have like an entire library of all these guys' speeches. And at the same time, I'm also listening to audible.com. I'm listening to The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which is 65 hours. And I'm also listening at the same time to Monsters Incorporated, which is about this company that kills monsters for the United States government. You gotta mix it up a little. So, but I suddenly have this idea. Wouldn't it be cool if I could just see if I can stream. I'm in the middle of Band of Brothers. I'm on episode 4, Replacements. I wanted to see if I wasn't going to watch it, God forbid. I mean, texting is bad enough, but there's no way that I was going to. I just wanted to see if it would work, because I'm driving north in Michigan, and I'm doing about 82, and I'm on the cruise control anyway, so I don't really have to pay attention, and the weather is clear, and there isn't that much traffic. So, like, could I stream Band of Brothers? I'm just 3G. I have to admit, it's almost embarrassing. Like, I would never say if I only had an iPhone 4. I have the 4S. I don't have the 5 yet, but I read all the blogs that say that the 5S is coming out in June instead of in October, and it's really exciting because a flash of sunshine will give you power for months, and it's going to do all kinds of incredible things. And if you suck on it, it'll taste like anything. But so I'm waiting for that. But I have the 4S, and I only get 3G, and you wouldn't be able to get 4G anyway driving on 75 at 82. But I figured I can still stream on 3G, and it worked. There I was, driving along at 82 miles an hour on 75, my iPhone perched on the steering wheel, and it asked me, do I want to restart or do I want to resume? Well, of course I want to resume. I'm in the middle, so I push. No, I didn't do that. And I would never do that. And that would be a bad thing. And at that moment, this trucker comes up on my right, because I'm in the left lane, and he apparently could see down to what I was doing, and it apparently upset him, so he gave me one of those, which scared the hell out of me. And I veer off, and I hit the berm, and fortunately, technology again, my electronic stability control cuts in faster than the speed of light and pulses the brakes on my right rear tire so that I don't go flying. And I get back on, and I put the iPhone down, and I just drive. Technology. Bring somebody from 200 years ago and tell him that going through this room are thousands and thousands of phone conversations between people who weren't even here, that if you had the right equipment, you could pick them up. And tell them that Netflix is streaming thousands of movies through here, that if you just had the right equipment, I happen to have Xfinity, some people have Netflix, you could pick it up. Tell them that and they'd say you're crazy. Better yet, when your advisors were born, nobody in the world had a cell phone. And now everybody in the world has a cell phone. Everybody can reach out to everybody else. And you can watch movies, and you can play games, and you can tweet the whole world. It's all there. I got it all. And you know what the people said to Moses when they complained about the pickles? You know what they said? Ain kol. Our clothes are clean for free. The food is free. Everything's great. The weather's even great. Ain kol. We don't have everything. There's still crap out there for us. We don't have pickles. We don't have iPhones. We don't have everything. Makes me think of my cousin. I got a cousin lives in Riverdale in New York City. So astoundingly wealthy. They live on the largest piece of residential real estate in New York City, which is, believe it or not, in New York City, 9 acres. Former Rockefeller estate. And I remember staying there at their house one Shabbos in the same room that 2 nights later Bill and Hillary Clinton stayed in. And my wife Nina and I are there for Shabbos. And they have on the 3rd floor of their house, overlooking the Englewood Cliffs on the other side of the Hudson, 1,500 feet from their house down to the Hudson River, they have on the 3rd floor a room that's probably almost as big as this room. It's got a stage at one end where you can put on shows. It's got scenery and lights and everything. It's got every toy in the world. They have 7 kids. So they have every single toy in the whole world. It's all there. Freaked me out. We're leaving Sunday morning. The house doesn't have an address, it has a name. And I turn around and I look at the house one more time. In front of it is this giant courtyard stretching all the way past the 6-car garage. And there's their youngest kid, Gilad. And Gilad is sitting on the bricks in the courtyard. And he's banging on a box with a stick. He's got all the toys in the world up on the 3rd floor. He's got a stage. He's got everything. And he's banging on a box with a stick. Ain kol. We don't have everything. And of course, you want to talk technology? I share grandchildren with the world's master of technology. I am the loser grandfather of the 2 grandfathers. Because the other grandfather, my daughter-in-law's father, which, by the way, there's a word for in Yiddish, it's mechutten, but there's no word for that in English. There's no word that defines the relationship between 2 people who are sharing, whose children married each other. So the other grandfather, Eli Libin, is the world's expert in wireless technology. You want to know how expert he is? I don't even know, even though he's tried to explain to me what the heck he does for a living. But I do know that the United States government hires him to handle the inauguration. And I do know that he handles every major league baseball game. And I do know that he handles not only the World Series, but the Super Bowl. And I do know that he handles the U.S. Open, the golf one, and the tennis one. I don't know what he does there. I know that on his wall he has plaques like from the United States Secret Service for the special service that you performed for us in Greece at the Athens Olympics. What? Bizarre stuff. He's the world's expert. They don't have a sporting event or a major event or anything. He actually, for a long time, was technically also a vice president of ABC Sports because that gave him entree to everything because he handled all sorts of games. And he has on his resume that once he turned off an NFL game right in the middle by accidentally pulling the wrong plug. Myanmar, you know what Myanmar is? It's a big pile of mud where people eat bugs and boil them into a soup. Okay, it used to be Burma. They're just coming back to democracy. And a few months ago, they hired him to go to Myanmar to set up a wireless network in Myanmar. He also did the one in New Zealand. And so 2 weeks ago, he had to go to Japan. Not easy to go to Japan because it's a different day and a different time. And he talked to his rabbi about it. And his rabbi explained to him that if you go there for Shabbos, Shabbos in Japan is not really Shabbos in America. So it's 2 Shabboses for that week. It gets really weird, so don't do it, he said. Leave on Sunday, come back before Shabbos. So he worked it out that he left on the Sunday, flew 24 hours or so, however long it takes to get to Japan, landed on Monday, did all his work from Monday to Friday, left Tokyo Airport 2:45 on Friday afternoon, scheduled to arrive 2:45 on Friday afternoon at Kennedy Airport. Okay? I don't know how that works. And it's not a Shabbos problem because it was Friday when he left, and even though he's had like 8 days in between, it's Friday when he gets back. And it's daylight all the way through because they travel over the Arctic Circle. He's on a 747, a United 747, and they're flying over the Arctic Circle nonstop from Japan to JFK. About a quarter of a way through the trip, it turns out that there's a guy who's 6'6", weighs 240 pounds, who was just expelled from Japan. They saw him to the plane and put him on a plane to America. Some kind of crazy American who it turned out was stoned or drunk or something. And he starts making a scene. And they, people are getting really edgy because he's a big guy, but he's freaking out and they're getting scared. And Eli Libin, my mechutin, is watching the map that they have up on the wall that shows you where the plane's going, and he sees the plane is going south. And as happens, even the pilots on big airliners have to go to the bathroom. The pilot comes out to go to the bathroom, and as he walks by, Eli Libin says to him, "I see we're going south." And the pilot says, "Listen, confidentially, I'll tell you, this guy is acting up. And we don't want to go back to Japan because they won't let him off the plane, and we don't want to land because we're over the Arctic Circle. So what we're going to do is we're going to go south into Siberia. We've gotten permission, and we're going to tell him that we're going to land in a Siberian city and leave him there. So we're hoping that that'll cool him out." Suddenly, this Orthodox Jew from Long Island is traveling at 700 miles an hour into Shabbos, because once you go a little bit south, it's dark, and it's Shabbos in Siberia. And the lights go on upstairs. And he did what every Jew who takes his own food everywhere he goes in the world and wears a yarmulke every place he goes, because he said they don't bother you if you wear a yarmulke. Anything you don't want to do, just tell them you don't want to do it. They think it's part of your religion. Can't have a 7 a.m. meeting against my religion. So he reaches into his pack and he pulls out the little splits of grape juice and the little Shabbos challah, and he makes kiddush and makes a motzi and davens Kabbalah Shabbos, because for a half hour, Shabbos has come to him. What do? You'd have to ask your rabbi. It's too weird, okay? It just doesn't make, and then the guy, instead of cooling out, freaks out, and he runs toward the front of the plane, the 747. The pilots are upstairs, so you got to get upstairs past first class to get to the pilots, and he's trying to climb the stairs, and everybody who's ever been on a plane since September 11th, 2001 has been waiting for this moment, because you want to be like those people in Shanksville. We're going to get this guy. So the entire population of the plane runs to the front, which is a good way to crash a plane, to grab this guy. And I said to Eli Libin, "What did you do?" And his wife said, "He was sitting there singing Zmiros." Well, the guy didn't get up the stairs, and they caught him, and they put these plastic things on him, and they just stuck him in a corner, and everybody went back to their seats, and they didn't crash, and the pilot headed back north, and suddenly it's not Shabbos anymore, and he made Havdallah. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do. But there's magic there. The Jew, wherever he goes, he takes Shabbos with him. And sometimes Shabbos comes to you, and sometimes you bring it. And every time it happens, it's magical. And if I tell you there's 1,000 movies and 1,000 conversations, or maybe 1,000,000 coming through here digitally, and that if you had the right equipment, you could capture it, and you could feel it, and you would know it. Shabbos is the same way. The sparks are coming through everywhere. And the one beautiful thing about all of us in NCSY is that we learn to capture those sparks and make it Shabbos. Wherever we are, we learn to capture it. So should it surprise you if I tell you that a guy who had a brain tumor and lost his sight permanently, that he still sees things that we don't see? And that he stops and thanks God every time he thinks of how bad it could have been? Would that surprise you? Would it surprise you if an old lady who still remembers when they ripped her out of her mother's arms, took her parents away to be killed, that she still sees that movie in her head? Does that surprise you? And does it surprise you that NCSYers who've been through years of Shabbatons feel a Shabbaton everywhere they go, and make their own Shabbos and create Shabbos for other people and keep that spark alive? That shouldn't surprise you either. And then the strangest thing happens in this week's Torah portion. Moses' father-in-law says to him, I see you're going on to the promised land, he says. I'm going home now. And Moshe says to him, no, he says, don't go. He says, you were part of us. You camped with us. When we made our Shabbatons, you were there. You understood it. You felt it. You saw it. And he says, you gave us extra eyes. That's what Moses says to his father-in-law on this week's Torah portion. You came to us and lived with us and saw our Shabbatons and saw the magic that we have. And sometimes those of us who have it, those of us who went to day schools and yeshivas, those of us who have it at home every Shabbos, sometimes we don't appreciate it enough. And you, as a newcomer who came in, who'd never seen it before, you came to us. And you gave us extra eyes. You gave us a new perspective. You made it more beautiful to us because of the way you saw it. You who didn't have it in your life. You came to us and joined with us, and we appreciate it more because you were here. So even if you go away, even if you have to go home, take that spark with you. Pass it on. Spread it around. It's so, so important. And then, last but not least, there's Yosef Meshiso. When the Romans came and destroyed the temple and destroyed the dreams that kept us linked to the temple. When the Romans came, they burned the temple. They sacked the temple. Came the moment when they stood outside the temple and they were all afraid to go in. The Midrash says they were all afraid to go in. They didn't know what to do. It was too spooky. There's something holy in there. There's something special in there. Who are we going to get to go in, they said. And one soldier said, hey, I met a Jewish guy. He don't care about this stuff. It don't mean squat to him. He'll go in. I'll get him to go in. And the Midrash records that his name was Yosef Meshiso, and he came. They brought him to the front, and they said, go into the temple, check it out. Whatever you bring back, you can keep. So he goes in, he looks around, he sees the solid gold menorah. He tips it over, holds it around his shoulder. It must have weighed a zillion tons, but he did it. And he drags it out. And the head of the Roman guard said, no, you can't keep that. That way, we're taking that home. You can find something else. He said, no, I ain't going back in there. What do you mean? Of course you're going back. Go back in and get something else. I can't go back in there. What do you mean? He said, I've never been in there before. I never saw what it was. I never felt it before. I never understood before. And now that I've seen it, I can't go back in there. They said, you're going back in, and they tortured him, and they pushed him, and they prodded him, and they tortured him to death. And the Midrash records that he would not go back in, because once you see it and feel it and understand it, you can't desecrate it anymore. Now that you've been there, now that you've seen what we have, this magical time, wherever we are, whether we're flying over Siberia at 700 miles an hour, whether we're in Ypsilanti, Michigan, whether we're home in our room, we make it Shabbos, and it makes it special. Tell the guy or the girl you're going to marry. Tell your children about it. Tell your grandchildren about it. That's what we've always done since that time when Moses took us to that mountain and God said to us, listen, don't get too full of yourselves, but I got a special job for you forever. Hold on to this. It'll make your life special. That's what NCSY is all about. That's who we are. There's nothing I'd rather do in the whole world than just sit here and listen to Michael Nadata playing music and sway back and forth with Sally and sing and dance. But it comes to an end. I can promise you something, though. If you're a senior in high school and this is your last Shabbaton and your last Havdallah, I promise you, I've been doing this for a long time, I promise you, you will remember tonight for the rest of your life. Hold on to it. Cherish that spark. Keep it alive. It's so, so wonderful. In fact, it is everything.
Adonai Tzevos Imanu Mizkav Lanu Eloi Oyakov Adonai Tzevaos Asher Adam Nisazon vikar keinti elo ono Nai 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 Yara nai 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 Yara nai 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 nai
Listen to the bracha and don't talk.
I don't know yet. Mashiach ben David